Welcome, guys. It's Andy here from D6 Evolution, along with Lewis.
My God!
And it's time for chaos.
I am so excited.
Vigilus
Oh my
is
God!
ablaze, and Lewis is seriously excited about this.
Ablaze in glory.
It is Chaos's time.
Finally, I've waited a long time from the first Vigilus book. Opened it up, not a single chaos thing. Got a bit sad. Waited a little bit of time, a few months, knew it was coming, and this book is just worth the wait. Absolutely, it's fantastic. It's the best 40k book I've ever read, and I've read a lot of the Horus Heresy novels. So.
Good. So anyone who's new to the channel, D6 Evolution, we are all about competitive play in 40k. And the whole idea is trying to make you guys better 40k players. Now, this is just a quick reaction video, and we're going to be going through what Lewis thinks is some of the most competitive combos in this book. So if you're a Chaos player, particularly pay attention. If you're a sad Imperium player like me now, who doesn't have any of these crazy combos, you've got to know what you're up against. And this is the stuff which is going to be coming out.
Absolutely.
Right, Lewis, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, so I thought what I'd do is I've only had the book for like 2-3 days, or in fact, I haven't even had the book yet. I've just been looking at the YouTube reviews and people going through it page by page. So I've got to see all the pages and I know what's inside the book. Just a little comment here is that we are very, very close to 10,000 subscribers. And if we get to 10,000 subscribers, there's a good chance that Games Workshop will start sending us the books early. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so we can properly go through the book with you guys. At the moment, you're just going to have to listen to me talk about it based on what I've read on other people's channels. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.
Yes.
And I'm going to go through, I'm just going to talk about some of the initial combos I've come up with and looking at it. And when I get the book on Saturday next week, we can probably go into a bit more depth in it. This is just my first thoughts.
Awesome. So I guess one of the things a lot of people have been talking about is, Space Marines have the Smash Captains.
Yep, they do.
What do Chaos have now?
They have the Smash Lords, which I think is the name for it. People can come up with their own name, but yeah, basically it's the same thing. Yeah.
You've come up with something better, which we're going to get onto later, haven't you?
I absolutely have. I think there's a Smash Lord 2.0, which I'm dubbing the Chain Lords. I felt a bit unsure about whether I should release it into the wild because it is such a ridiculously good combo, but I figured you guys, you deserve it, so I'll let you know about that. But before we do, let's talk about Smash Lords very briefly. So, Andy, tell us what the main things that you do with a Smash Captain out of the Imperium book, and I'll tell you how it's slightly different for the Chaos.
Okay, so the whole idea behind a Smash Captain, usually they're Blood Angels, is that they're a Space Marine captain with a jump pack. They've usually got some way of deep striking in and manipulating that charge roll to get in very easily.
Yeah. So a 3d6 charge roll.
Yeah, like Blood Angels do. Then essentially what they do is they can attack twice and they can stack various buffs on top of that to get 7 or 8 attacks and attack twice with that.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nasty stuff, and it can take out most things in the game.
Yeah,
for
and
like a million CP, obviously. This is why they're not everywhere, is because they cost like 9 CP or something stupid like that to use one.
Exactly. So now I think the thing is that for Chaos, they have exactly the same combo, but it doesn't cost 9 CP. So you take a Jump Pack Lord, it's 93 points with Jump Pack, give him a Thunder Hammer, which I haven't seen the point cost, but I believe it will be about 20 points or so. So you talk about 113 points to have the Jump Pack Lord with the Thunder Hammer. And then you put him part of the Host Raptoral, which is one of the new detachments. And I'm not going to go through all the details of all the detachments. That's for other review channels. We're just talking about combos here. But essentially what that means is to get a Warlord trait that means that you get +2 to charge. So that means that he's charging on a 7+ rather than a 9+, which is a much more likely chance of making the combat.
That is huge.
And that, yeah, I mean, you're paying a CP.
For the whole detachment, is it?
That's for every Jump Pack unit in the detachment that's within 6 inches of him gets that buff. So best combo for that is, and this is, the Blood Angels have some form of ignore Overwatch. Take a squad of Warp Talons, 5-man squad, 120 points. They deep strike, they charge, they ignore Overwatch, and then he follows in and then starts swinging with his hammer. Now he has he give him the Khorne Legion trait, Chaos mark. Then he can fight twice, so you can do the same thing. 4 attacks base. I mean, there's a few other things you can do. A lovely little relic, because the Thunder Hammer isn't a relic, it's just a regular melee weapon. So what you can do is make him Brazen Beast is a good idea, because then you can take the relic, give them a 2+ save and +1 attack, which is just gets a bit more survivability. Smash Captains tend to take the Thunder Hammer, the Storm Shield, give them the 3++, and a 2+ save is not as good, but it's kind of in the same kind of ballpark of survivability, and that busts them up to 5 attacks, and then fight twice to get you 10 attacks out of the back of that. that. So yeah, it's very, very comparable. And there's lots of other combos you can do around it. Flawless Host is a good idea if you can get prescience on him, because it gives exploding attacks on 6s. And there's a few other things, but parking that aside, I mean, that's all great and all.
That's the normal stuff. Let's talk about that really broken stuff.
So people know that, and the reason it's good is it's 3 wounds. So it's damage 3, it's AP -3, and obviously 5 attacks, fighting twice is 10 attacks. So you're talking about 30 wounds potential maximum damage if you do well with it. If you all hit and wound with everything, that's nothing. I'm looking more in the region of, I don't know, like, let's say 52 wounds from a model that's about 10 points cheaper, 20 points cheaper. So
okay, lay it on us. What have we got?
So right, it's called the Chain Lord, and basically you take a chain, just a stock Chaos Lord, give him a jump pack, put him part of the host or Raptorial. You don't have to, but that just gives him the mobility of the Deep Strike. And you give him a Chainsword, so he's 93 points base, and that makes him 94 points.
A Chainsword. We built all up to this, and you're telling me about a Chaos Lord with a Chainsword.
Stock Chaos Lord with a Chainsword, 94
You heard
points.
it here first. Amazing.
And then how you get the 52 wounds.
Okay, yeah, there's still a gap between having a Chainsword and getting 52.
All right, so this is it, guys. So first of all, you look at the new relics. You have to make them Black Legion. One of the Black Legion relics is called Gorshek's Teeth or something. I can't remember. It's the relic chainsword from the Black Legion trait. And essentially what it is Strength User, 2 extra attacks, which is nice, AP -3 and 2 damage. So it's a decent weapon anyway. But it does mortal wounds on 6s, which kind of like perked my interest.
6s to wound, yeah.
6s to wound, yeah, because everyone knows you've got Veterans of the Long War, so you can make that 5s to wound. So I'm thinking that's quite a nice combo. And then you've got the Dark Apostle. And the Dark Apostle has got prayers now with this complete change. I would encourage you guys to have a look at it. I'm not going to go through it all now. 2 main prayers I see in the -1 to hit and the +1 to wound prayers. So you do the +1 to wound prayer on him, and then he's getting mortal wounds on 4s. And then you haven't given a Warlord trait yet. He's your Chaos Lord, so you might as well give him a Warlord trait. I was flicking through the book, seeing what kind of would work best, and I thought, Jesus, there's a Warlord trait from the original Codex that I don't think anyone's ever taken, and it's called Flames of Spite. And what it does is exactly the same thing. It's mortal wounds on 6s. So now every time you roll a 6, you do 2 mortal wounds. 1 from the Relic Chainsword and 1 from the Warlord trait, which obviously you've now busted to 4. So every wound roll of a 4, you're doing 2 mortal wounds. So you think he's got 4 attack space. The sword, the Relic Chainsword itself gives him 2 extra attacks. Now he's got 6 attacks. You might as well give him a second Chainsword. It's a point, and it's the mortal wounds. Obviously, it doesn't have the D2 damage, but whatever. It still gives you 2 mortal wounds every 6 roll. So that's 7 attacks. So 7 attacks with Veterans of the Long War and the prayer is hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. So basically going to hit with all of them, and then you're wounding on 4s. Well, 2 mortal wounds on every roll of a 4. So you think that's 14 mortal wounds basically from just the mortal wound element, and then the damage weapon is D2 damage. So you're potentially looking at another 14 wounds or so from the damage. So you're talking about. It's because the Chainsword doesn't got the D2 and the extra mortal wound on it. Actually, it's only 26 wounds. Sorry, it's 26 wounds, and then so you fight twice, and that gives you the 26. Sorry, that's the 26 mortal wounds, and then you
fight twice.
It gives you 13 mortal wounds, and fighting twice gives you 26, and it does 13 potential maximum damage, and fighting twice gives you 26 potential damage. So it's 26 mortal wounds and 26 damage. Put it together is 52. So that's just that guy fighting twice.
And he hits on 2s, because the problem with a Thunderhammer, having used the Space Marine Smash Captains, is that you roll a lot of 2s because they're -1 to hit. It's all a bit of an anticlimax at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So hitting on 2s,
hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s is reliable.
And then he's Strength User, so it would be Strength 4, but then he's getting +2 to wounds, so even Knights he's wounding on 3s, and pretty much everything else in the game he's going to be wounding on 2s. 6 5 4, so he's wounding 4s, on Knights because of T8, but everything else he's wounding on 3s or 2s. So that, and it's AP -3, so that D2 damage is going to get through on a lot of the attacks as well. Yeah. But the thing is...
It's the mortal wounds, isn't it? It's the mortal wounds
just
are reliable.
about to say,
Is that what
They're
you're going to go with it?
we're reliable, but also what you've got to remember is that typically when you hit with like a 2 damage weapon, you say, oh, its maximum damage output is like 26 wounds, for example. It didn't have the mortal wound element. Yeah, that's great, but if you're just hitting orc boys, it's not. It's 13 because those wounds don't carry over.
Yeah.
Whereas the mortal wounds carry over, so you can slam into a boy squad and you can pretty much guarantee you're going to do 26 wounds, or near enough to it, to the boys before your damage actually weapon go through and they start making saves or whatever they've got, feel no pains, whatever. That's just going straight in. So it's ridiculous. It's so cheap because it's 1 CP to give them the relic, or if you use do warlord, you can just take the relic for free. So it's maybe 1 CP to put them in the detachment, and then you put them with another warlord who would give them the +2 to charge, and then it's 3 CP to fight again. So it's a 4 CP combo if you're going to have to fight again. But to be honest, you probably don't need to fight again. You're probably going to get everything done. So it is. I was so unsure about whether I should say it because I know that if people like it, which I can't see why you wouldn't. I can't see why you wouldn't take in your list in any list. Then it's going to get a lot of play, and if it gets a lot of play, it's probably going to get nerfed. And so I wanted my little toy, but I'll put it out there.
That's really good of you to actually share this with us.
No, I thought about calling it like the Lewis Lord or something.
Yeah, I've named it after myself. I came up with it.
I did think about that, but no, we'll get it out there. Now, the thing is, I am not going to play it like that, if I'm honest. And the reason being is that you really want to get the Dark Apostle in there, and he has to deep strike, so you have to put him like a Dreadclaw or something if he's going to come out. Ideally, you want Exalted Champ, because then you're re-rolling all failed wounds, which is where you're going to actually hit that maximum damage, rather than do sort of, somewhere in the region of 6 to 8 mortal wounds on the first time you fight. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to put him on a Juggernaut of Khorne. And the reason for that is Juggernaut of Khorne
I've got one of those in my old Chaos army.
It's
not seen play at all this edition.
I've just started building him here, so I don't know if you can see, but this will be my Juggernaut of Khorne. So yeah, he's because Juggernaut of Khorne gives him 3 extra attacks, so now he's got 10 attacks, and also makes him Khorne Demon, which means Crimson Crown now procs on the 6s, which are now 4s, obviously, because you're placing it twice.
So the Crimson Crown is a Khorne Relic, is it, from Demon Codex?
It's a Khorne Relic from the Demon Codex. Khorne Demons, every time they roll wound roll a 6, they get an extra attack. They get to re-roll the attack, just make another attack with that weapon. So obviously I'm boosting my wound rolls anyway to get to 4s to get the mortal wounds. So any 4s actually let me roll my hits again. So there was a high potential I could roll those 10 attacks again. I mean, I think I can maximum 40 hits, which would be 80 damage, 80 mortal wounds if I hit him wounded from everything.
And the beast attacks as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, but you see, the beast counts as him, so it still gives. Sorry, it won't give 2 mortal wounds. That's a lie, actually. Well, it doesn't give 2 mortal wounds for the beast. It still gives 1 from his warlord trait. But I think the Crimson Crown's worth it. But also because I feel like you want the Dark Apostle and you want the Exalted Champ to get an extra +1 to wound and the rerolls, which means that you want to put him on foot. The only thing you lose is Veterans of the Long War because he's a cavalry. But to be honest, I think wounding on 5s with that many attacks and rerolling stuff, you're pumping out enough damage to kill anything. So yeah, that's that is just an absolutely disgusting combo. And I think if you did just play it with a Jump Lord with a Chainsword, put him on the table, no one is going to pay attention to him until you get into combat. And you get him into combat.
The first
time, exactly. But the thing is, like the list I'm playing with him, I'm going to give him there's a strat for the Black Legion which is really strong, which is Council of Traitors, I think it is. So you give a Sorcerer and a Dark Apostle a Warlord trait, so you can give him the full back and charge Warlord trait. So now he can charge into combat, do that ridiculous amount of damage, pretty much delete whatever he's going to do. And if he doesn't, he can fall back and charge. He's a character. He's got 6 wounds. He's going to be hidden. I'm going to be rolling Chaos Boon on him every turn. Why not? Try and get an extra attack in there, +1 save, something like that. So yeah, absolutely just disgusting. I mean, and to be honest, I'm stopping there. But if you really want to go mad mode with it, you can cast Diabolic Strength on him to give him another attack and another strength. You can put him next to Scarbrand to give him another attack. There's so much more you could do just to blow it out of the water. But anyway, that's all there for you. You guys see what combo works best for you. But in essence, I don't think you can beat Black Legion, Chaos Lord with a Chainsword, upgrade it to the Relic, give him Flames of Spite, and then whatever else you want to add on top of that to boost him as you see fit.
Awesome. That is crazy.
It's disgusting. So now let's just talk about a couple of other things that I've noticed in the book. These are also very good combos. I don't think anything compares quite to that, although I'm going to come one at the end with Possessed that potentially could. But yeah, so a few quick things I've seen. The Soulforged hunting pack, or whatever it's called, is fantastic. I love my demon engines. I played a lot of demon engines. So 3 Mauler Fiends, 3 Discordant Lords is a nice little combo. The Advance and Charge strat is really, really good on a Kaitan, because a Kaitan moves 12, and then when it advances, it rolls 2d6 for its advance, and now you can advance and charge.
So that's like the Forge World Knights, isn't it, in general?
Yeah.
The Forge World, what do you call them?
Atropos or something? Or is it the other one? The Lancer, maybe? I can't remember.
Basically, all of them have that 2d6, I'm pretty sure, advance.
Yeah,
so
but they can't. Well, the Chaos ones can't advance and charge because they can't be part of a household. Well, there's no household.
But now they can.
But now they can. Yeah. Exactly. And also, don't forget, he's a Kaitan. He's actually Demon Legion. So you can anything that works on Legions can work on him, which means you can cast Warp Time on him. So now he's got 24 plus 4d6 charge. So I mean, the Kaitan is just amazing. For 410 points, he's an absolute steal. If you want to go super heavies with Chaos, you got to be looking at that. That's just a solid thing.
But yeah, because he's got the Demon keyword as well as the Chaos Space Marine keyword, isn't it? That is exactly where you need it.
That is what this book has done, and I just got to say that right now. The fact that it's brought together those 2 books, and there's abilities to cross-reference and go against them, and then to layer it again with the detachments. I mean, I was already like scouring the books before, and this is why I feel so tooled up, ready to do this, because I've scoured the books so hard. Chaos, the Forge World book, and the Chaos Demons, so the CSM Demons and Forge World books, and I'm trying to look for the combos and the cross references. So I know all of it, and as soon as you bring a detachment that says, "Oh, now you can do this," which I'll like, for example, Chosen the Pantheon, which I'll come on to in a minute. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, so that means I can do this, and that all together. So it is.
Look how excited you are about it.
I've just been waiting for this, basically. In fact, Chosen of the Pantheon is the stratagem that I've been waiting for my entire life, to be honest, like since the 8th edition dropped. So let's talk about Chosen of the Pantheon then. It's a bit out of sequence, but let's just go straight into it because I've mentioned it a few times.
Why don't you explain what it does to start with? So we're all on the same page here.
So the only downside is it happens at the start of your turn, which is a bit like the prayers, which is really good from a defensive standpoint, but not so good from an offensive standpoint, because you generally want to put stuff in deep strike. But basically, at the start of your turn, choose a Black Legion leader, so it has to be Black Legion. They gain all 4 Chaos marks. 1 CP, right? So you go, okay. So I really, really, really like playing the Crimson Crown, for example. I think it's fantastic because it works on shooting and it works on assault. And it's, like we say, it's 6s to wound, and now I let you roll extra attacks. But, that's great on like Obliterators. But Obliterators are kind of better with Endless Cacophony, where they can fire twice. So what's better, Crimson Crown or Endless Cacophony? Or how about both? Because now you make Black Legion Obliterators, Chosen of the Pantheon, and you can have both. So you're firing twice. Veterans of the Long War means on 5s you're rolling to hit again, and it is just a disgusting amount of damage. And then if you really want to stack it up, why don't you do the Tzeentch? There's a Tzeentch demon psychic power which gives +1 to wound again. So now that's happening on 4s with the Crimson Crown from Khorne. So it is. I mean, the combos are just insane.
And just to clarify, guys, if you have a demon keyword and you have a Mark of Chaos, it becomes a demon of that faction.
Yeah.
And that's in one of the original FAQs. I think it's in the Getting Started.
Yeah.
But they're also a Chaos Space Marine Khorne unit as well.
So to be clear, you have the Legion keyword, which means you can benefit from your Legion traits. You have the Demon keyword, and you have all 4 marks. So you have all 4 versions of the Demon.
Because the Chaos Space Marine strats work off the mark.
Yeah.
The Demon stratagems work off what sort of demon you are. So it actually.
No, yeah. Well, actually, the way the Mark of Chaos just replaces that word with Khorne or with.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reason that's important, because if you don't have the demon, so if you're not, like, Obliterators have Mark of Chaos and demon, so that they become a Khorne demon. If you're just like Berserkers, which have the Mark of Khorne, for example, you don't have the demon, so you can't benefit from the stuff that would benefit demons, even if it has the Khorne keyword. So read the Getting Started, like he says.
So actually, this Black Legion has opened up every single demon stratagem.
And the cross references so it's like a Tzeentch, and it's totally unfluffy, but a
Tzeentch Khorne unit, I don't see a problem with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, technically, if you did it on like a sorcerer, a Black Legion sorcerer, the Black Legion sorcerer would gain the Khorne keyword, so it'll be a sorcerer corn. But anyway, um, obviously it works very good on obliterates, but like I say, not being able to do it, having to have to do it at the start of the turn means that you can't deep strike your obliterators and then do it. You have to start them on the table, which is not great.
Because
so
obliterators are fundamentally short range, and they're not that survivable, are they?
And they're huge targets. People know you're going to endless cacophony them or something with them, so they're always going to shoot them. So they will die. Okay. So, if you can keep them alive, they're amazing, but they will die.
So do you think a blitz got better or worse?
Overall, I think they got much better. I wasn't looking at them before. I think the only way to play them before is you go heavy into them, run 2 or 3 squads, and that was running into like 900 points or something. So no, or 600 or something, I can't remember. But yeah, so I wasn't looking at them before. But now, just the fact, whenever you can stack a buff, the more you can get out of that buff, the better. So the fact that they've got 6 shots for a unit of 3 rather than 4 shots each for a unit of 3 means that it's got, what's that, 30% better? No, 50% better actually.
Just because went up, what? 30-40%, did they?
Well, technically, in the new book, they were at 65 points. But I'm sure that will get FAQ'd. But yeah, so no, I think overall they got better. Whether I'll play them or not, I don't think so. I always struggled with the range on them, to be honest. I just didn't like that. I think 24 is too short a range to do anything.
You can always back off, and then people just
you can play around it.
Time to give them another 4 inches.
4 inches, I know. But the thing is, you're not accounting for terrain. Like, you need more than 4 inches just to get line of sight on stuff sometimes. Like, you put it there, and then their turn, they move away, and then you're like, 4 inches, I can't even see it.
So that's probably the only limiting factor of them, isn't it? You just need a jump or something like that, don't you?
Yeah.
Basically, what they need to gain is the orc keyword.
I think the chosen of the Pantheon, isn't it?
No orc keywords in there.
I'm sure someone
you could jump them over, and then they'd be the perfect unit. But
someone somewhere hasn't read that properly and will play a game and says, "Yeah, they gain all keywords across the entire game." It's like a new
and they will grade it good you if you come anywhere near them.
Someone will try it, won't they?
I think we're getting a little bit off track.
So, just talking about choosing the Pantheon, one thing that I have seen that I think is a stupidly solid combo, but I do believe you have to write your entire list around it, is 20 Possessed. Because it, just like the Obliterators, the Possessed have the Demon keyword, they have the Legion keyword, and they have the Mark of Chaos, so you make them Black Legion, and then they have all the Marks of Chaos. I wrote a little list, and I'll just read through. Now, you can cherry pick what you want out of this, but these are the options available to you, and I'm sure there's more. I read this very quickly. So you can, if you want, with literally just a couple of characters, so Dark Apostle, Exalted Champ, Sorcerer, a few things like that, you can do this if you chosen the Pantheon them. You can give them -2 to hit, which is Miasma, Pestilence, and a Prayer. So Miasma, Pestilence is a Nurgle psychic power, gives -1 to hit, and then there's a Prayer that gives them a -1 hit as well. So the -2 to hit. You give them a 3+ invulnerable save, which is Cursed Earth, and then you cast Weaver of Fates on them, which is weird because you've just done other demon spells on them, and now you're doing a Weaver of Fates as well. So you've just done Miasma Pestilence, which is a Nurgle spell, and now you do Weaver of Fates, which is a Tzeentch spell, but you can do that. You can make them advance and charge. You put them next to a Nurgle tree, or you can put them next to a Slanesh demon with the Locust, and that lets them advance and charge. They can fall back and charge from Black Legion. You can cast Warp Time on them. They move 7 inches, I think it is. So that's 14 inches, and advancing and charging, so you've got quite a long range from them. You can reroll all hits and wounds. That's not hard at all. Chaos Lord or Black Legion. Exalted Champ gives them reroll wounds. Master of Possessed lets them reroll ones. I mean, just a Master of Possessed is going to give you the Cursed Earth, which gives you +1 invulnerable save. The reroll hits and wounds of 1. So like that's just reducing your character burden if you want to just get the reroll ones rather than all of them. And then this is where it gets stupid. You put them in the Demonkin detachment, and then they get there's a Warlord trait for the Master of Possession, for example, that gives them 6s to wound. Does a mortal wound in addition, which we just talked about is really strong. But when you've got a squad of 20, they get D3 attacks, which you can give D3 +1 attacks, which is the detachment. You can also put Fabius Bile next to them to give them potentially an extra attack. You can cast Boon of Change on them to give them potentially another attack. There's so many ways of boosting the amount of attacks. They can have like 6 attacks each if you roll well with them, and that's on a squad of 20. And mortal wounds on 6s, which are rerolling or failed. The only thing to be careful with that one is I thought at first I was going to go massively into this, but I realised it's unmodified rolls of sixes.
That's nowhere near as much fun, is it?
I know, exactly, which is what my worry is probably with the Chain Lord combo that I came up with. They'll probably just change it to be unmodified, but at the moment it's not. So, and then, I mean, to be honest, you can make them strength 10 if you want to. Greater Possessed. Just to put this, you could put a Khorne Herald, a Tzeentch Herald, a Slaanesh Herald, and a Nurgle Herd next to him. Each one of those is going to give a +1 strength. So that plus a Great Possessor at strength 10 without even trying. So yeah, I mean, it is just the 2+ -2 to hit and the 3+ invulnerable save alone is worth it. 5+ Feel No Pain from the demon Slaanesh. Can't remember what it's called now, but the 5+ Feel No Pain, like they are, and the 2 Wounds Apiece, they're so strong. I think that is a good combo, but you are playing like 4 or 5 characters, maybe 6. It's 400 points per unit. If you don't get turn 1, you've got to see what you've got left at the end of turn 1, so you probably want to take 2 squads. So at this point you've got like 1,300 points to your list, and then
because otherwise you've just got a bunch of characters left, and it's you've got the buffing elements, but nothing to buff them. If you get
exactly, and if you're going to run the characters, then I mean the list that I'm writing at the moment, which I think is the one I'll play in the next couple of tournaments, is just a hero hammer list. And if you're going that, you're going to be just taking all the good hit, like be buffy the characters that kill on their own accord, not the ones that do the buffing really. So yeah, it's solid. -2 to hit and 3+ vulnerable save, 5+ Feel No Pain on 2 win models. 20 squad is that's a Death Star you can't get away from. So I think that's just absolutely brilliant. But then you just look at the downsides of it, and it is just you play against someone Vect or the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, and then they just Vect chosen the Pantheon if they're a good player, and all of a sudden all that falls flat because you can't do any of it. That being said, when you rock up a table and play this, no one knows about it, so they won't be expecting that. You'll do this, and they go, "What does that do?" And you go, "Give them all the chaos keywords," and they go, "Okay." You'd be hard pressed to figure it all out from that point on, and then once you start loading down the bus, then they realise, and at that point it's too late.
That's how all that stupid stuff fits together. Yeah.
So it is amazing, but it does have its weaknesses. So it's not like the best list ever, but I don't know. It could absolutely destroy, and if you catch his opponents off guard, it will absolutely destroy them. So they're brilliant. I mean, Possessed are good anyway. As I said, you don't have to take all of that. You could just take one min squad of Possessed and just go for 1 or 2 of those buffs, that you think is going to work to keep the points down. So absolutely. Oh, don't forget as well, fight again for Khorne. That's probably the biggest one out of all of that, and you could actually fight them in the fight phase as well. So that was the thing that sparked me onto it originally. So they move up, they advance, they warp time, they advance. So it's 14 inches plus 2d6 move. They get into combat, they fight again. Then in your opponent's turn, then back into your turn again. Your psychic phase, you fight again because it's the Slaanesh psychic power lets you fight again, and then you charge something else and then fight again. So you can get like 5 fight phases out of 2 turns with them, which I mean that is insane.
Only that. Okay.
And that's nothing. That's just choosing the Pantheon and 2 psychics. That's not doing all the damage buffs and everything. That's just that. So that might be worth doing, if nothing else, because that 5 fight phases, as we know, is 3-inch piling, 3-inch consolidation. So that's 6. So that's 30 inches of movement potentially across those 5 fight phases.
That's a lot of bouncing around.
Yeah, there's so much you can, and with a squad of 20, I've played a lot of big squads. If you can get your movement down, and that's how you win a lot of the games, you can have so much board control from that sort of stuff. So, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, as I said, you can go too heavy into it, but I think that Chaos has always done that, and they've always tried to keep this kind of, I guess, design philosophy of the book. And I love this is that they go, Chaos is so powerful, and it has everything that you can do, but it costs loads of CP, and you have to completely commit to it, and then you give up all your other things. So it's a very much like a Toys Before Boys kind of style army to play. So you've just got to be very clever in the list building phase about what combos you decide to take and what you don't. You can't take everything, even though everything would be the most amazing thing ever. But you play if you played an APOC and you had like 3 weeks to play it, I don't think you could lose.
No, I'm pretty excited to see what you actually come up with. Hopefully we're going to be playing at the end of next month, aren't they, when I come down to London?
Oh yeah. Well, we could play the list then, and we can talk about how it went. So yeah. So just to finish off, then I just thought I'd just swing through a couple of other combos just to get the to whet the taste buds. A few things people can think about. I'm not going to go into as much depth on these things, but just a couple of quick ideas. I think the Purge is really, really strong. I think there's loads of good options with the Purge. Re-rolling all hits as soon as someone takes a wound is brilliant. That works on your Hell Brutes, so Derridios, which I've just I've just come third in a 2-day GT with them. They are absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, them rerollable hits is fantastic. They also have a strat that lets you shoot into combat, and I think that is solid.
That is game changing, because a lot of these
It's one
armies,
CP.
a lot of these armies rely on the fact they can hug something and just pin you in.
Yeah.
You can just shoot them.
So my idea is like it's one CP and you can do it on anything. So you can do it on, I don't know, like a Fire Raptor maybe. So you just take a Purge Fire Raptor, just call it the Purge, doesn't get anything else. And then when you need to, one CP, it can shoot into combat. And if you really want to make it fluffy and you want to make it a bit stronger, the prayers, as I said, start at the beginning of the turn, and there's a prayer that's -1 to hit, which is just the best thing. Honestly, it's probably the best thing in the book, up behind Chosen in the Pantheon, and that you can't really stop it, and you can make it go automatically if you wanted to, or at least on 2+ rerollable. So yeah, it's so good to give -1 to hit. So it's -1 to hit anyway, and that gives it an extra -1 to hit at the start of your opponent's turn. So that Fire Raptor is -2 to hit, and if it manages to survive that in your turn, you can cast Miasma of Pestilence to give it the -1 to hit again, so it's -3 to hit. So that's a stock Fire Raptor.
That's like an Eldar Fire Raptor there, isn't it?
That's an Eldar Fire Raptor that can shoot into combat.
I don't see that causing any problems ever.
It's so good, and I brought a Fire Raptor like just before Christmas, and I've been deciding what colour to paint it, and
I've got two of them. And the great thing about mine are Dark Angels, so they're practically Chaos anyway.
Yeah, but what can you get -2 to hit on the Dark Angels ones?
No, they're going to be Chaos ones. They've immediately gone to the Fallen.
Exactly.
Why do you get an extra minus to hit?
Yeah, so I mean that's just a solid thing, and there's loads of things around the Purge. I would encourage you guys to have a look at it properly. You know, just playing a list that style that would just like hug everything, like loads of Plague Bearers or the Nurglings, whatever, and then just be able to shoot into combat as you see fit.
Just pin them in combat.
And then shoot them yourself.
Just shoot them, yeah.
Exactly. I definitely thought about that.
That'd just be funny.
So that's really good. Flawless Host. Oh, it's so good. I haven't spent enough time with Flawless Host because it's sort of lower on my list. But basically their thing is that they hit on 6s to hit in combat. They get an extra attack, just Death for the False Emperor, basically, but all the time. But it stacks with Death for the False Emperor. And then one of their Warlord traits is every time you roll to hit, if you proc it's called Death to the Imperfect, which is a brilliant name, you get 3 hits instead of 1. So if you're playing like an Imperium army with your Warlord trait on your Warlord, which would be like a Demon Prince or something, then every hit roll of 6 procs 4 extra attacks, which obviously you can cast Prescience, so that happens on 5s, and then if that's still an Esh because it's Flawless Host, so why not? So you put the Mask next to him, which gives them in combat will give them +1 to hit again, so that's on 4. So every roll of a 4 with 7 attacks will give you 4 extra attacks, and with Demon Prince it's strength 7 -2 damage. So I mean it's just brilliant. But you could do that with Noise Marines, you could do it with just regular CSM guys. They all get it. Dreadnoughts, if you want to play like a Soulforge pack with a Mauler Fiends, sorry. No, Mauler Fiends don't get the help rate, but Decimators with the Slanesh trait, so they can advance and charge, Soulforge pack, and then the Flawless Hosts that get the exploding 6s. So I mean, it's just Flawless Host is, I would encourage people to have a good proper look for it. There's a lot of stuff they can have in there. Similar to the Scourge, there's some good Scourge stuff. I haven't spent enough time with that. But the main thing that a lot of people are talking about, I think this will just be how we sort of wrap it up, is the Red Corsairs, because I think they are going to be a staple to a lot of lists. So this is more for people playing against Chaos to understand. They can advance and charge, and don't forget that. That's a key little thing that a lot of people miss, because they're looking at the other part of their Legion trait, which is they get +1 CP if they contain 3 units in a detachment. And if those 3 units are CSM, actual Chaos Space Marine models, the regular troops that no
one's actually ever seen,
then you get 3 extra CP. So a Red Corsairs battalion, which would be like, for example, Huron, who's their champion. He's like 100 points worth taking as a Psyker, basically a sorcerer. Just a stock Chaos Lord, and then 3 squads of CSM. It comes in about 550 points, but it gives you 9 CP. So it's 5 for the battalion, 3 for the for their trait, for their Legion trait, and then +1 because Huron gives you +1. So it's 9 CP out of 1 battalion for like 600 points, and then you could get another 2 battalions in there if you want. So that is really good. Advanced and charging is good on that traits as well, because it means you can.
What's the one which lets you get the Chaos Space Marines back? Like they've got a new tide of traitors, haven't they?
That's them. That's their stratagem.
Ooh,
so that's
that's theirs as well, is it?
Yeah, that's their own stratagem. So you have to be Red Corsairs to do that, which is amazing. It is. I mean, we all knew that was really broken. I think they're probably the FAQ, it's similar to what they did with Tide of Traitors, which means you can only do it once per battle. Because at the moment you could do it every turn if you wanted to. But the reason it's better, I think, is because first of all you bring in your squad sizes for CSM are 20, so you can bring 20 CSM back, and also the CSM can take the proper good heavy weapons, so you can get like 2 chain cannons in there for which is a new weapon, 8 attacks, so 16 hits from chain cannons or las cannons or melter guns, whatever you want to do. I mean, to be honest, the list I'm looking at, I really think you take a battalion because you want to do it anyway. You've got so many choices for HQs that you're looking to fill the slots, which is really weird because previously when I was writing chaos lists I was struggling to figure out what HQs I wanted because I didn't want to take any, but now I'm like, what troops do I want to go with my HQs? It's a completely different style list. So you think, well, those 3 squads of CSM are not attacks really, it's like a couple of 100 points. I'm already taking the HQ, so I just do some detachment jiggery pokery just to make sure they're in the right ones. But yeah, I mean 8 CP is hard to pass up, but the 20-man squad, the way I'm looking to play it is probably doing that turn 1, or at least turn 2. So even when they're a full man squad, to just put them in a backfield, if they're not properly screening out or whatever, or if you've managed to punch a hole in turn 1, turn 2, dropping 20 tactical squads in their backfield is just going to be so hard for them to deal with. If you get them within 12 of your target, that's 24 shots. 8, you get 8 from the chain cannon, so take 2 of those, that's another 16 shots. So sorry, it's 20 shots and then 16, so it's 36 shots in total. And then Veterans of the Long War and Endless Cacophony. You're firing that twice.
They have to kill it properly. If you drop that thing in cover, they have to kill it properly, otherwise you just bring it all back.
Yeah, so you know what you do, don't you? You at least get like maybe 5 guys so they can't see, but they're like properly behind walls and no one can see.
You just the last few you tail back like properly out of line of sight.
Yeah, so they shoot it with 1 unit, they get it down to like 5 models, but then they can't see the last 5 models because they're hidden behind combat. And then the next your turn, you just bring them all back again, and then they've just wasted all that shooting. So if you get them in cover with 2 up saves, they're going to do well. I'm not averse to putting like a sorcerer of them, deep striking him with them when they deep strike and giving them the 5 up feel no pain. So 2 up save, 5 up feel no pain, they ain't going anywhere.
You need a disproportionate amount of firepower to get rid of basic Chaos Space Marines then.
Yeah. And what is it? What they like 13 points of models, so it's 130. It's 260 points for a 20-man squad. Yeah. An 8 for your list. It's good. And then the other thing as well that I found a lot, because I'm playing a lot to ICC now, I'm kind of switching over and going to the dark side.
Yeah, I think realistically it is better, isn't it?
Is that those backfield objectives, you're getting the hold more is so powerful, and normally a hold more is just something that they're holding with like 1 model, like just a tank or something at the back, or I was doing it with my Derridia, just 1 Derridia holding a point. Drop those 20 Chaos Space Marines on him. You make the charge, you don't make the charge, whatever. Next turn, you're definitely making the charge. You're swarming that point. He has to deal with that. But if your list is not that, the rest of your list is like 3 Lord Discordants, 3 Mauler Fiends and a Kaitan. They don't want to be shooting the 20 Marines. They want to be shooting that shit that's running at their face and they're about to destroy them. And those 20 Marines are just sat on that objective holding it for you. Yeah. So they're holding your one, and then they can be moving over there. And I don't know. It's the movement capacity is fantastic. And for 2 CP, when that battalion is giving you 8, it's not a big cost. So yeah, I think Red Corsairs for me are probably one of the biggest biggest winners of the book. So.
Good, right, buddy. Should we wrap this up?
We could talk for the next week if you want.
I know. Literally, this video would be 3-4 hours long if I just let him. He would. He'd just keep going.
Yeah, give me a couple more days and we'll do another hour.
I know, we need to, don't we?
Yeah.
I think the other thing to say, guys, if you like this video, subscribe. We're going to be doing some really cool videos. I've just done one on how to beat Gene Stealer cults. Which Lewis has helped me come up with a few tactics for, so thanks for that, mate.
I played them for the first time actually on the weekend, and I thought I was really scared of them. They have some interesting tactics, but also they are pretty easy to beat if you got a good plan. You can execute well. I think
once you figure them out, they're not that bad. Yep. I had a good chat with Alex Harrison, who second place LVO, so we've just we're going through that with him. And last week I did a couple of weeks ago now I did how to beat Yanari with him as well.
Yeah, he's a good player.
My mind on how to beat Yanari. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, like with everything, if you've got a plan going into it, you know what you're doing, it is a lot easier. It's when you don't know what you're doing, you make your mistakes and you lose the game. So
or just roll 6s. That's the other way.
I'll just roll sixes. Or actually, funny enough, talking about the Gene Stealer cult guy, that guy just rolled sixes all the time.
You see, he
And
had the plan. He just like, I don't need to know your list. I'm just going to roll
yeah,
sixes.
it didn't work out for him because not how the first turn he rolled so many sixes, or it was ridiculous, and we were just both laughing about it. And then in turn like 3, I think, for the kill more and for the kill 1 and for the kill more, I think it was. I just needed to kill 1 squad of mortars. I got it down to 1 model, just a 3-man squad down to 1 model. Of course, he rolls a 6 for the leadership, so they'd go. But then he goes, "No, I'll pay a CP to reroll that." Of course, he rolls another 6.
Yeah, those weighted dice, you know, they're gonna get you in the end, aren't they?
Yeah, man. So I was like, you roll 6 all the time doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna win.
Okay, right. So I actually have to learn how to play against him.
Yeah.
For your sake.
Yeah, I mean that dude was really nice, to be honest. I give him my sporting. He was one of the best players I've played in a long time. He was really good about it. So yeah.
Yeah, and you podiumed at that GT, didn't you?
Yeah, I came third. I lost to Malik, who's an absolutely phenomenal player, and it was just because I really had no experience playing his list. I made loads of mistakes. I played it too awfully, to be honest. Looking back on it, I was begging him for a re-rack because I felt like I'd learned enough that if we went again, I might have a chance. And he said, "Well, if you can get up on the tournament so perhaps over a 5-day tournament, there's a chance we could play each other again on the final game." So I was like, "Well, I've got something to play for."
Yeah.
So I didn't get the re-rack, but I did get the third, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's really well done, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Right, well, we'll leave it here. Let us know what you think. If you have come up with any crazy chaos combos, let us know in the comments below. And if you're going to use Lewis's Chain Lord, let us know how it gets on.
Yeah, and come up with some new names for it. I came up with that very quickly before the video. I don't think it's the best thing.
Yeah, it's not very chaosy, is it?
I know.
It's got to have some skulls in it,
Yeah, well, because he is Khorne, and he's Black Legion as well. So I tell you what, I'm going to throw it out there. You guys in the comments below, come up with the coolest name you can for the Chain Lord, Chain Smash Lord, whatever you want to call him, and we'll start referring.
They're terrible names. He's setting the bar low to start with.
Well, I thought Chain Lord because he's got Chainsword Lord. I don't know. I just want to call him like the Lewis Captain or something, like the Smash Lewis. Captain Lewis, Captain L-Man. That's what I want to call him. No, he's not even a captain though. Lord L-Man, that's what you can call him. I don't know. You guys come up with it in the video, in the comments below, and we'll start referring to it as that.
All right, guys, take care.
All right. Cheers, guys. Bye.